Alright, so this is the updates that you people have asked for. And I'll start with getting kicked out and alcoholism. Alright, so getting kicked out and alcoholism. Back when I was making my videos on pretty much a daily routine, or whatever I was doing with them, you probably didn't know that I was an extreme alcoholic, drinking every night, drinking pretty much every night, and drinking a lot every night. So that was back in October, I believe, or September. And anyway, that eventually got out of hand, and I got really drunk one night and I got really depressed and tried to commit suicide, and ended up getting put in the drunk tank for the night, and got out of that. Then, the next day, when I was in the drunk tank, my mother said that she had enough and that I was kicked out, that she just couldn't handle it anymore because I was putting her through so much trouble that she just couldn't handle it anymore, and had to let me go from the household. So that's part one. The next thing I'm going to tell you about is jail and what happened there. After I got kicked out, I ended up living with a buddy for a bit. Didn't have my own place, living with a buddy. And yeah, so I got really, really drunk, severely drunk, and ended up going out to a bar, and where I'm underage, couldn't get in, caused a fight with the bouncer of the bar, and ended up getting into a big old fight with him. Walking around a building, the cops come, and I got into a fight with them, and then ended up getting arrested and put into jail for a while. Now I was remanded for a while, and had court, and then eventually was released from that, and had nowhere to go because my mom didn't want me back, my buddy didn't want me back, or I don't know if he didn't want me back, but I couldn't go back. So I ended up living with another friend, and I had a lot of charges on that too. I had weapons. I had illegal weapons. I had weapon charges, resisting arrest, causing a disturbance by being drunk in public. Just there was a bunch of charges, and I ended up going to court for it, and got, out of all the charges that I had, I got a year probation. So I consider myself pretty lucky, seeing that, you know, I got super drunk and and ended up going in jail with all these charges and only getting probation. Seeing as how it was my first offense, I guess, you know, it was they were a bit more lenient on it. But all those charges, and then you get a record and whatnot. So after that was all done and over with, I was living with another buddy, and I ended up going to a party. Well, it wasn't really a party. What happened was there was a party on the go, and I was invited, but I was feeling a little bit down at the time, and I didn't want to go. So I said I wasn't going to go. As the night went on, I got more and more depressed, and had to call somebody, you know, before I did something to myself, and ended up getting a taxi to that party just to chat to one of my buddies that was there. And it happened that one of my buddies, the buddy that I went to talk to, had a criminal record, and I'm not a part of my probation order was that I'm not allowed to associate anybody with a criminal record. Now, I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to speak to anybody with a criminal record, because that, in my eyes, did not make sense. How could I know if somebody had a criminal record or not? I mean, I knew he had charges before, but I thought that that meant if he was on probation, which he wasn't, that I wasn't allowed to speak to him or whatever. But in any case, I was depressed and I needed to speak to somebody. And at this time, he was the only person that I could trust that I wanted to speak to. And in my opinion, and probably other people's opinion, that's not a bad thing. You know, if you got to talk to somebody about something, you got to talk to somebody about something, no matter what the case. You know, it could have been life or death for me. Really, it could have been. So anyway, I was out there, and I was there for about 15 minutes, and the police were called, and they came in and busted up the party, and they seen me on the bottom floor. I was nowhere near the top floor of the party. The party was on the top floor, and I was on the bottom floor, where there was just me and him having a chat, and and the cops were called, and I was only there for about 15 minutes, and the cops were called. They come in, they see me and him there, and they look at him, they look at me. I have a criminal record. I'm on probation, and I'm not allowed to speak to anybody with a criminal record. And he had a criminal record. So I was arrested right on the spot, and I was taken to the cop station, and I was charged with a breach of probation. So that was back in December, I think it was. And well, before I go on with that, the night that I got arrested with all those charges before, I did stop drinking completely, and I haven't had a drink since. So I'm a completely recovered alcoholic. I'm still an alcoholic, obviously. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. But I have stopped drinking, and I haven't drank since then. And I wasn't on anything, and I wasn't drinking that night that I got breached of probation. So in my eyes, I believe that the law system is a little bit corrupted, because I don't see why I should be charged when I really had no other choice but to talk to this person about, I was feeling down, and that's what happened there. So